The drama surrounding Shadur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns has reached a level of chaos that almost defies belief.
It is the kind of spiraling storm that exposes every weak point inside a franchise, every crack in leadership, every blind spot in coaching philosophy, and every vulnerability of a young quarterback thrown into a situation he never should have been in. What happened over this 24-hour stretch wasn't just unfortunate. It was revealing. It peeled back the curtain on an organization that still cannot figure out how to manage quarterback development, still cannot create a stable environment for young talent, and still cannot protect its players from avoidable disaster both on and off the field. And as the dust begins to settle, one thing is clearer than ever. None of this had to happen. When you step back and examine the events as a whole, what emerges is a pattern of failure that goes far beyond one game or one poorly handled week. Shadur Sanders didn't just struggle because he lacked preparation. He struggled because he was set up inside a system that never gave him a chance. Every single layer of his situation was stacked against him. A divided quarterback room, a head coach committed to another rookie, a practice structure that excluded him, and an offensive scheme built for someone else. By the time he stepped onto the field in Baltimore, he wasn't just unprepared. He was walking into a battlefield without armor, without a map, and without the trust of the people responsible for his development. It is no wonder he looked overwhelmed early. It is no wonder the offense sputtered. It is no wonder the weight of the moment pressed down on him like gravity. And yet, even amid all that, something fascinating happened. By the third quarter, despite every disadvantage, despite the chaos swirling around him, and despite the knowledge that the coaching staff never planned for him to see the field this year, he found a rhythm. He fought through the fear. He dug into his instincts. He started making real NFL throws, pushing the ball downfield, stepping into pressure, extending plays, and showing flashes of the quarterback he was at Colorado. A player defined by toughness, composure, and a refusal to fold even when everything around him collapses. That resilience is what Jerry Jeudy saw up close. That resilience is what impressed teammates who barely knew him. And that resilience is what should have been nurtured, protected, and developed by the coaching staff long before he ever stepped onto an NFL field. But instead of supporting him, instead of preparing him, the Browns treated him like an afterthought, a draft pick made for optics instead of investment. Kevin Stefanski's decision-making in this situation wasn't just questionable. It was reckless. It was short-sighted. It was emblematic of a coach who has grown comfortable with patterns that no longer serve the modern NFL. When you have two rookie quarterbacks, you cannot treat one like a veteran. You cannot starve him of reps. You cannot send him into a game with zero chemistry with his receivers and expect success. Mary Kay Cabot wasn't exaggerating when she said the Browns were remiss. She was being polite. The truth is far more blunt. It was coaching negligence. And while that negligence was unfolding on the field, a far more disturbing violation was happening away from it. A violation that reaches deeper than football, deeper than coaching decisions, deeper than scheme or development. Shadur Sanders had his home invaded. Not randomly, not out of coincidence, but because criminals knew he would be gone, knew he would be occupied for hours, and knew they could exploit his schedule. This wasn't an accident. It was part of a growing trend that has been stalking NFL players like a shadow. A coordinated ring of thieves targeting athletes when they are most vulnerable. Seeing men walk casually through his home, rummaging through his belongings, invading a space that should be safe, says everything about the danger players face when their fame becomes a roadmap for criminals. For a young quarterback already battling pressure, expectations, criticism, and the brutality of an NFL debut, to walk off the field and learn that his home, the one place meant to provide peace, had been violated, is emotionally devastating. It forces a sense of insecurity that follows you everywhere. It sits in your mind when you're trying to focus on film. It lingers when you try to sleep. It becomes another opponent you have to face mentally before you can ever succeed physically. And it adds a layer of burden that no rookie should ever have to carry alone. In many ways, Sanders' situation mirrors the Browns organization itself. Vulnerable, exposed, struggling to find stability, and often left unprotected by the very people responsible for safeguarding its future. These parallel failures highlight a franchise that still hasn't learned the lessons of its past. You cannot build consistency without leadership. You cannot develop quarterbacks without commitment. And you cannot expect players to perform at their highest level when the support system around them is fractured, distracted, or outright negligent. The saddest part of all this is that Sanders' story could have unfolded differently. With proper preparation, with dedicated reps, with honest coaching, he could have entered that Ravens game with a foundation instead of a scramble.
He could have built on success instead of clawing his way through adversity created by others. He could have been evaluated fairly instead of being judged through the distorted lens of unpreparedness.
The organization failed him before he ever failed on the field.
And until the Browns confront that reality, nothing will change.
The path forward is simple on paper but complicated in practice.
Sanders needs first-team reps. He needs meaningful preparation. He needs a game plan tailored to his strengths. He needs a coaching staff willing to invest in him rather than dismiss him. And he needs an organization that understands the gravity of its mistakes. If Cleveland cannot provide that, then Sanders' future may lie elsewhere, a place where coaches are willing to meet talent with opportunity instead of excuses.
Now the question belongs to the fans.
To the people watching this disaster unfold. To those who understand how badly the Browns mismanaged this situation.
What happens next?
Does the franchise take accountability? Does Sanders get the reps he deserves? Or does Cleveland continue down a path of dysfunction until another promising young quarterback becomes collateral damage?
Let me know what you think.
Should Stefanski be held accountable? Should Sanders start the next game? Should the Browns overhaul their entire quarterback development strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay locked into every twist and turn of this Browns quarterback saga, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. This story is far from over, and what comes next may be even more explosive.